All right, awesome. So we are in our first pop-up Zoom for the Accountability August group. And I just wanted to give a few tools here that everybody can use for tracking and pacing and staying present with your business. That's the main thing, is like it's so easy to just kind of like lose sight of our business. Like it can literally just like blow away in the wind. And we're like, what are we doing? And so this is a way of like marrying yourself and just staying really present with that whole process. So we already have our tracker sheet, and that is amazing. If we're using that every day, posting it on Fridays, really going over our numbers here at the bottom, end of the day volume. So drop a 1 in the comments if you're using the tracker sheet. And I will be totally transparent here and say I've not used the tracker sheet for a long time. And that is a big reason why I created this group, because I need accountability. I need to be able to let you know I've not been using it. My intention is to use it. And for those of you who have been, guess what? These are the people who are ranking, like Success Leaves Clues. And that, that is a good indication that it's working. And not only is it working, but it's also what keeps your mind in the game, like I said, so you don't get like lost and separated from your business. So one of the items on the tracker sheet, aside from listing our conversations and all that, is down at the bottom here. It says end of day volume. So in order to do that, you're in a habit of pulling out your tracker sheet before bed, pulling up your back office, and knowing where you're at the end of the day. And when you're doing that each day, you're really noticing what your business is doing. Some of you may have started to notice that there's green numbers and red numbers, and they can be helpful, but I think it's more helpful to look at the volume and watch that change. And then you can see how activity that you and your team are in is translating into that. So the tools that I wanted to kind of give today are around pace. So we have let me use Alexis are you in a place where you can come on off mute and we can go over your numbers? Because I know you're really excited for this. Okay, awesome.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yay.
Let me pull up my back office.
Yeah, pull up your back office and let us know what your current volume is.
All right, so right now I'm at 837.
Okay.
So I go 15,000 because I'm running for diamond.
Okay, hold on. Let me do it slowly so I can explain it. So everybody else can do this too. For those of you at home watching, or here or the replay, you can pull up your back, if you can, pull up your back office, see where your numbers are at currently. So Alexis's current volume is 837. Now the next number we're going to grab, because we're going to do a little math equation, is the amount of volume that she will be on the last day of the month or before for hitting her rank. So what's that number, Alexis?
15,000. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, exactly. So for hitting diamond, Alexis, on at least by day 31, will have 15,000 points. So so the first thing we want to do is look at the pace that she needs to be on for the rest of the month to hit that. So, and sometimes I have to like think these formulas through as I'm going. So, so what she's going to do is she's going to take her total goal, 15,000, and subtract what she already has. So go ahead and tell us that amount if you have a calculator.
Yeah, so it'd be 14,163 more points to go.
14,600. Say that again.
Sorry, 14,163.
163. Okay. So 14,163 to go that's what she has left. And now we're going to divide that by days in the month.
We've
So
got
you can decide if you
25
want to include today or not. You can base that on how much you're planning to work. Because here in Hawaii, it's still like half a day left. So you decide if you want to include today.
Yeah, so I'll include today and divide it by, it's 25 days, right? We have left of the month. Today's the 6th.
Yeah.
So I divide that by 25. And that
actually
means that
26.
Yeah. Okay.
If you're including today, you would still have 26 days.
Okay. Well, let's just say 25 because my goal is to be complete the day before the end of the month. So I'm not crazy at the last day of the month.
Yeah.
So that puts me at 566 points a day that I would need to get to 15,000 by the 30th.
Perfect. So that number, 566, is, thank you, Michelle, for putting this equation in the comments. Maybe you can even add that into the thread, the messenger thread. But for Alexis, 566 points per day is the pace that she needs to be on to reach her goal by the end of the month. And now, in order to see how the pace that she's been on, so that can give us a good idea of like, are we on pace? Like for the work that we've been putting in, like, are we on pace? And Michelle let me know she's above pace for executive. So congratulations, Michelle. So in order to figure out the pace, we're going to take that 837 and divide that by 6 or 5. Anyway, you're going to take what you have, your current volume, and divide it by the number of days in the month that have already passed.
So that would put me at 167 points. So that means I need to pick up the pace.
Yeah. And the key, and the key with these numbers too is to know them and let them empower us rather than discourage us, right? That's the inner work. That's the only thing that's hard about this business is cultivating that, the ability to have that posture and presence and align with like, I got this. Okay, now I'm clear. And Alexis just hit a rank, and it's really common to she gave so much and had all of her lowest hanging fruits, like signing her up right at the beginning of the month. So it's also common to there's a little pause after that. So obviously one of the easiest ways to catch up on points is the UBT and supporting our teammates to hit UBT. So I'm seeing a lot of people running for UBT today and tomorrow. That's why I want to keep this meeting short. And it's also particularly easy to share the business right now, because being able to leverage the fact that this free business has been going on all of this year and is ending tomorrow as far as we know. So I'm seeing that people are finding it easier to bring up the business, lead with the business, lead with the why. I want to shout out some of the people who are, specifically, or rather than shout out people, what I want to mention is some of the campaigns people are using right now, like, reaching out to parents and teachers, like, what are you doing about school? What are your concerns? Like, do you want to hear about this home-based business that would either allow you to not have to go back to school as a teacher, not have to put your children in school as a parent, and or being able to promote the transformation as a way of heading back into school feeling our strongest. You know, like teachers feel vulnerable right now heading into that climate. So those are great campaigns. Just in general, people talking about, you know, all the people who have lost jobs or are looking for solutions in a really volatile economic climate. So these are the conversations about how to lead with a business, how to lead with your why, find out their why, ask if they want to learn about this, hit the UBT. Okay. So that was, thank you so much, Alexis. So that was pace. That's figuring out the pace that you need to be on and the pace that you have been on. And then being able to go and be like, okay, well, what do I need to be doing now if the number isn't where you want it to be to get it to be there? And this is an equation. You can run these numbers daily if you choose to use that tool. That's definitely like when I was running for, I only learned this when I double ranked to Crown because it was such an endeavor. And it wasn't like, I didn't even have Crown on my, didn't even cross my mind at the beginning of that month. And Sarah was running my numbers and was like, oh my gosh, you're on pace to hit Crown this month. And I was like, what? Like, that's crazy. But that's how I learned that equation and just kept running it to see if I was still on pace, and to watch myself continue to be on pace for that was like so exciting. It was so encouraging, and probably translated into me continuing to do that work to keep making that pace be what was happening. So we can use the numbers to really encourage us and get excited and motivate us to be like, well, what can I do differently? What can I do more of? Where can I leverage my time in a different way to get my numbers to be where I want them to be? And if we're doing that from the beginning of the month, it's going to take that pressure off of like trying to squeeze it all out right at the end. Like, oh, wait, my numbers aren't where I wanted them to be. And then trying to like, you know, hustle for it at the end. It's stressful. So that's what Alexis was saying. Like, I'm going to hit my goal before the end of the month. So awesome. So that's basically pace. And if we're paying attention to that, and we're also paying attention to how many time blocks we're using. So drop a number in the comments, how many time blocks per week you're using. If it's like an average 90 minutes, if you're doing with 5-hour time blocks, obviously let us know. But like if you're doing an average hour, 90-minute time blocks, how many of those per week? So that's another thing. Like if people are like, oh, my business isn't really where I want it to be. It's like, well, how many time blocks are you doing? And the next question is, how many people are you in conversation with in those time blocks? And and when I say time blocks, I mean prospecting, like opening conversations, asking questions, finding out if they want to check out a link. Even I will include engaging on their social media. To me, that is a conversation. That's a way, like if you have somebody, you're like, gosh, I've messaged them 2 or 3 times and they haven't responded. I'll go and be like, great, I'll just talk to them over here. I'll go over to their Instagram or their Facebook and go, they're already conversating with the world over here. So I'll just go engage with them over here. So those are forms of conversation. And I also believe that creating stories is a form of conversation. I get a tremendous amount of engagement of people responding to my stories with comments or hearts or likes or whatever. And then that just gives me a reason to like, you know, like chat back. So to me, those are conversations too. And that's why in our thread, I gave that assignment. Okay, awesome. Great numbers here. So Camille's got 6 90-minute time blocks. Alexis has 5 90-minute time blocks, talking to at least 20 to 50 people each time. That's awesome. These are the kinds of things that, you know, are going to lead to the kinds of goals that we have. And it can be, you know, it can take that push of like, I just don't want to do it. But it's really just getting yourself over that hump and just being in those first few conversations. That's like the magic sauce to be like, okay, I'm in it now. Like I totally had that last night. I was like, and then once I got it, I was like, yeah, I'm in the zone. I love this. So action kills fear. And Michelle's got 10 people a day, 5 90-minute time blocks. Magali's got 5 60-minute time blocks. So awesome. These are all really great numbers. And the last number I'll mention is to look at how many new people you're in conversation with. So some of these conversations are follow-ups. And then it's also important to look at like how many new conversations. Am I like following up with the same person like over and over and over? They keep showing up on my tracker sheet. Maybe it's time to just let that one lie and, you know, make sure that we're in lots of new conversations. And also this one about adding new friends and following new people on Instagram is a really great one to keep expanding. Okay, awesome. So that's pretty much what I have for you. Yep, 20-minute download. And I also want to open it up if anybody wants to offer anything, ask anything, shout yourself out. I'm really proud of you all for stepping into this like next level tightened up container, and I'm really excited to see what we can do with this. Okay, great. Well, then rock that UBT run, and I'm super excited to see who gets that and celebrate you at Summit. I'm sure it'll be shouted out. Well, maybe, but we'll be putting it in the chat. I'll be putting it in the chat anyway. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the flip side. So have a great evening, afternoon, wherever you're at. And awesome. Aloha.